Welcome back everyone, this is Rehan the Car Geek, and for part 2 of this Highway 35 video that I'm doing, I'll be going over my top 20 most favorite cars from this game. That's it, we have made it to the top 20. It's crazy to think that, but we made it. Without any further ado, or any delays, let's get started. Entering the top 20 at number 20 is Switchback. Driven by one of my favorite characters in an animated show, Alec Wood, Switchback just had to make it into my top 20. Based on a 1950s Ford F100, Switchback was a huge part of my childhood when watching Highway 35. I like the surfboards in the back and the livery. It makes it look 100 times better. Switchback, like many trucks in the game, strangely suffers from a lack of grip, which makes it stuck at number 20. Even then, Switchback made it, folks. Number 19, Backdraft. A beautiful design to come out of Mattel, Backdraft is inspired by the Jaguar XJ220 and has always been a favorite of mine. It's straight out of the bedroom wall poster with its hypnotic styling and the fin in the back. No pun intended on the driver's name, Fin Surfa. I love the colors on Backdraft. The orange creates a beautiful palette with the silver and blue. Even if it's hard to drive, Backdraft will always be a favorite of mine from the Wave Rippers team. Number 18, Aero Flash. Driven by Sanjay Khan from the Street Breed team, Aero Flash may not be everyone's favorite, but it's definitely one of my favorites. I love the wedge shape that is a throwback to the old concept cars from Europe in the 1970s. The red and green create such a beautiful contrast on the exterior. When it comes to specs, Aero Flash is certainly not perfect, but for just an easy quick race, Aero Flash is not a bad option. I will admit that the speed is terrible, but I try not to judge cars too harshly. It's not an ugly car by any means. It's a beauty. Number 17, Side Draft. Named after the principle of side drafting during a NASCAR race, Side Draft is undeniably a classic. Inspired by Le Mans race cars like the Porsche 917, Dan Dresden's ride of choice is one that I love so much, to the point that I got upset when it was crashed in the movie. In terms of engine noise, Side Draft made me have a crisis, in Jeremy Clarkson's words. I love the 917 inspired front, with the headlights positioned very close to the wheel arches and the angled rear of the car. Truly a legendary casting from Mattel. Number 16, Twin Mill. Oh, Twin Mill, I love you so much. Twin Mill is one of the OG Hot Wheels cars. Debuting in 1969, it became one of the golden icons in Mattel's palette of cars. Twin Mill even got a life-sized replica in real life. Powered by two 8.2-liter Chevrolet Big Block V8s, this monster makes 1,400 horsepower. That blew my mind wide open. A 1,400 horsepower Hot Wheels car? If I had the cash to buy it, I would do it on the spot. Even though it's not so speedy and the grip is polarizing, Twin Mill was worthy of making it into my top 20. And as for Pete Karras, he has nice taste. Number 15, Ballistic. Let's go Ballistic! Banji Castillo's car, Ballistic, is a childhood icon. This car is inspired by the 1996 to 2002 Dodge Viper, but instead of a vicious V10, Ballistic has a V8. It may not be as fast as a Viper, but do I care? Heck no. I collected a Hot Wheel of Ballistic when I was a kid, although it wasn't actually the Road Beast livery. Even with the terrible speed it has in the game, it still made it into my top 20. Bravo, Ballistic. Bravo. Number 14, Crazy Eights. This might trigger some people, especially in my ranking of Ballistic, but remember, this is just my opinion. We all have our own opinions. Crazy Eights is legendary, don't get me wrong, but there are some cars that I think are a bit cooler. Crazy Eights is actually one of the first cars that are accessible in the game, and it's not the best, but it's also not the worst. Crazy Eights is one of my favorites because it's one of the first Hot Wheels cars I saw as a kid. Crazy Eights is awesome, but there are 13 other cars that I think are better. Even then, ride the wind! Number 13, Power Pipes. A car that is worthy of being a Wave Ripper vehicle, Power Pipes is a design I've loved since I have started collecting Hot Wheels. Power Pipes is a high-tech supercar inspired by cars like the Yamaha OX99-11 and the Nissan R390 GT1. What I love about Power Pipes are the massive air intakes sticking out next to the cockpit and the unique windshield shape. The engine sound in the game is the exact same as Golden Arrow and No Matter What. But in my genuine opinion, it sounds much better on Power Pipes. Power Pipes looks like something straight out of 2099, and that's what I love about it, a futuristic car in the present day. Number 12, HW Prototype 12. The Hot Wheels take on the greatest supercar ever made, the McLaren F1. HW Prototype 12 technically makes an appearance in the movie, but it's the villain car without the rear wing. I like this street breed livery on Prototype 12, but since the car was already in the film, I think they should have included the Pontiac Regis that Tono drove. In case you're not familiar with the Pontiac Regis, it was a 1990s concept car that was supposed to be a production model Pontiac released before the stock market crashed in 2008. It had suicide doors in the back for easily accessing the rear seats. Though its rear door design made it into the Mazda RX-8, I was deeply disappointed that Pontiac didn't release the Regis. I would have loved to have seen that car in both real life and the game. Number 11, Jester. Yet again another childhood favorite for me, Jester is a futurized 1959 Chevrolet El Camino that coincidentally replaces the 1969 El Camino from the movie. In my opinion, Jester looks cooler than the El Camino that Geralda drove in the movie. I could see Geralda behind the wheel of this car. The orange window tints make Jester look cooler, and the color combo on the exterior is way too good. I admit that it's not fast for what it is, but that doesn't stop me from liking Jester even more. Jester is great, but it just narrowly missed the top 10. Number 10, Sweet 16 2. Charlie Raffa certainly has good taste with this hot rod. The sweet in its name is perfect. Despite having not much speed, everything else is sweet. I love the design choices Mattel made for Sweet 16 2. It's as unique as its name. To me, and I thank one of the commenters on Shrub's video, W123 Card Sport, for this, but Sweet 16 2 resembles a 1920s Indy 500 Roadster with a roof, since those cars didn't really have a roof. One detail on Sweet 16 2 that I love is that behind the front wheels, it says 16, Roman numeral, Sweet Victories, a reference to its namesake. Number 9, Quarter Mile Coupe. Driven by Vesuvius, oh, that's an awesome name. Quarter Mile Coupe is inspired by the idea of taking older cars and turning them into cars that would annihilate the drag strip. This hot rodding was explored between the 1920s to 1950s and mostly consisted of old cars like the Ford Model T or the 1925 Chevrolet Roadster. Though Quarter Mile Coupe doesn't sound like a hot rod in the game, it has one of the best sounding engines in the game. Even with the exposed engine and the exposed wheels on the front, I still love Quarter Mile Coupe. Number 8, Muscle Tone. Driven by Krakatoa, wow, another cool name. Muscle Tone is a Hot Wheels car that I am practically obsessed with. It's said to be a hybrid between a Chevrolet Camaro and, in my opinion, a Nissan Skyline GTR R34. The reason I say this is that the wiki describes Muscle Tone as a fusion between a muscle car and a tuner. I looked at Muscle Tone and I saw a bit of the Skyline and the Camaro in it. Muscle Tone is pretty much perfect for hard mode, and the sound it makes is like angels are singing. I will also admit that Velocity X attributed to my love for Muscle Tone as well. Not that I'm ashamed of it. In fact, I'm proud of it. Number 7, MST Suzuka. Finally, my eyes can be pleased with Mojave's car. I did not like Wild Thing at all. It's a weird looking car, but at least they got a better looking vehicle for the video game. And also, it's one of the stars of Velocity X. MST Suzuka doesn't make that much noise in the game, but apart from the boost, everything is usable. I honestly think they should have included MST Suzuka in the movie instead of Wild Thing. We would have seen a nice car and been spared an eyesore on the Doonrats team. Everything about this car is so nice, even its beautiful paint and decals. Number 6, 24/7. Woo-wee, another treat for my eyes. 24/7 is inspired by one of my all-time favorite Japanese cars, the Mazda RX-7 Bailside Fortune, aka Han's car in Tokyo Drift. But if someone asked me if I prefer an RX-7 or 24/7, I'd have to go with 24/7. Sorry to all the JDM fanboys out there, but I just think 24/7 looks cooler, especially in this street read livery. The black, green, purple, and red and silver go together flawlessly. I would do anything to be in Ricky Bell's spot. What a beautiful sports car. Number 5, Slingshot. Nobody beats Kurt Wilde. I always loved that line as a kid. For a hotshot like Kurt Wilde, Slingshot is the perfect car. Inspired by Formula One race cars and the McLaren F1, Slingshot is an undeniable classic. The engine sounds so damn good in both the movie and the game. I was weirded out by one detail. Why doesn't Slingshot have pop-up headlights in the game? Even then, I still love Slingshot. A beautiful and timeless design indeed. Number 4, Diora 2. Yeah! Shoot the curl! Diora 2 and Vert Wheeler were a huge part of my childhood. I would always watch Highway 35 before going to school or after I finished school as a kid. Before you get triggered about me ranking Diora 2 below the top 3, give me a chance to explain. I in no way hate Diora 2. The throwback styling from the 1960s Dodge Diora concept is one I've always loved. I found one detail particularly odd. In the game, it has silvery white decals on the sides with the Wave Rippers logo, despite never having it in the movie. Despite the oddities, I love this absolute legend. But there are 3 cars that are just a wee bit better. Number 3, Vulture. Oh, Vulture, you stole my heart from me. Skeet's car Vulture is one of my all-time favorite Hot Wheels cars. The design is unique. It looks like a modified Koenigsegg, since Vulture's windshield resembles a Koenigsegg. I love how the exhaust pipes stick out from the rear fenders, and how low it is to the ground. One aspect that made me fall head over heels in love for Vulture is its magnificent engine sound in both the movie and the game. Like Power Rocket, it sounds like a straight pipe Lamborghini V10, and it gives me goosebumps in my arms anytime I see a playthrough video with Vulture. If I bought a Koenigsegg, I would commission it to look like Vulture. If that doesn't show you how much I love Vulture, then I don't know what does. Number 2. Road Rocket. The runner-up of my list, Road Rocket, is a fitting name for this Le Mans-inspired car. It looks like something you'd see in a movie that takes place in 2050. I feel jealous of Bart Scampy, because I'd do anything to drive this beast. The design is so nice, with the flat race car-like cockpit, and the rear wing, and the splitter on the front. It's one of my dream Hot Wheels cars that I want to collect one day. It has an engine sound that admittedly can't be matched by Vulture, but it's usable for medium mode or even hard mode. With the magnificent speed that this car has, it is worthy of being named Road Rocket. But there's one last car on the list that I think is the best one in the whole video game. Number 1. Roger Dodger. Taking the gold trophy in my ranking is Roger Dodger, the car driven by Wayne Casper. The reasons that Roger Dodger is number 1 on my list are plentiful. First of all, it's based on one of my favorite muscle cars, the Dodge Charger. Second, it sounds like a true Mopar muscle car in the game. Third, it's perfect for all the modes in the game, especially hard mode. The reddish orange with the yellow decals makes it look like the Dodge Charger from the computer game Lose the Heat 3 Highway Hero. It's exactly like a hot rod, only without the exposed wheels. It has an exposed engine, but I honestly don't mind that, since the front of Roger Dodger looks so nice. And if I ever buy a 69 Dodge Charger, because the front reminds me of one, I'm going to supercharge it and give it a Scorcher's livery. In all honesty, Roger Dodger is the number 1 best car in the game for me. It is perfection at its finest. And with that, today's video is over. I would like to thank every one of you for watching this video. Please remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Also, write down in the comments what would your ranking of all these cars look like. Peace out, dudes and dudettes. See you next time.